What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone for a quick live update because there is some news today to discuss. Even though it's not the best of sources, still quite a lot of things have been coming out today that we need to discuss. Obviously, Nico Gonzalez is in the newspapers, not for the reason you would imagine after one season, or maybe just for the exact reason you would imagine, to be honest. There's an update on Douglas Luiz, Kolomani. There is something on Gatti as well, Conceição. So a few things to talk about before actually the week starts tomorrow, and hopefully we will have a sporting director. Obviously, we will have no signings before the club, or like new signings before the Club World Cup. Just the players we already have in the team are confirmed, bar Vega. It's just waiting for a sporting director, and then maybe just about maybe the all the rumors start making sense. Because right now, we will discuss transfer news, obviously, because we have to, because somebody at the club is still making things happen, I'm assuming. But it's difficult to it's very difficult to filter out what could be real news and what could be fake news. Like right now, saying that's fake news or that's not correct is purely based on sources, to be honest. It's not really based on that's not what the new management want, or that's not what the coach want, because right now we don't really know what the new management want, nor what the coach really want. So we just need to fake all the news and discuss it, and see where it leads right now. That's the only thing we can do. And we're going to start off by talking about Nico Gonzalez, because he could be leaving already after a season. Based on performances, not a surprise, obviously. He had a very, very, very poor season. I think he was injured about 2 months. Somebody probably knows better than me. I think it was at least 2 months that he was injured, that he was out with injury. That definitely didn't help. But when he came back, I don't know how to describe his performances, but they've been very average. They've been extremely average his performances. I cannot recall very good games. It's very hard to think about good games. Nico Gonzalez, he had good moments in certain games, but really good games, it's hard to find that type of news, that type of memory of good games. However, the report from Gazzetta dello Sport is that Juve could be open to the idea of selling Nico Gonzalez this summer if a good offer comes in, and Premier League clubs have been interested. Juve could accept offers around 25. I'm not certain about that one, the 25 part, because we paid, I'm going to say 37 million euros for Nico Gonzalez. There's another journalist out there, a Portuguese one, said that Nottingham Forest are extremely interested in bringing in Nico Gonzalez. You're not going to get 37 million, obviously, because he was not worth 37 million to begin with. So that's the main issue. And then the performances he had didn't warrant 37. So nothing really helped. If you're going to sell Nico Gonzalez, you're going to take a loss on him. That's just how it is. There's no way around it. I will be shocked if he leaves, because I don't think he wants to go from Fiorentina to Juve to Nottingham Forest, all due respect. I don't think that's something he wants to entertain. I also do not really believe the club is open to letting him go already this season. That's just my 2 cents. Last summer, when we were linked with Nico Gonzalez, I said that I liked him, but when I heard the price, I was like, no, because the money you're paying for him would assume that he's going to be the main guy, and he cannot be the main guy. Even though he had the numbers at Fiorentina, I've watched those Fiorentina games. The performances were what they were, but he got the numbers, and I was like, cool. If he comes in and he has 6 goals and 8 assists. I'm like, that's fantastic. But for 37 million, I expect even more, in the position he plays, by the way. And the performances he put in were extremely average, like extremely average. And I'm being very nice. So is it very logical that we potentially sell him? Yeah, it's logical. You move on to players that have not been working out, or the players that have flopped, or players that are not just adapting at your team and whatever. But I don't have a feeling the club is willing to let Nico Gonzalez go. And most importantly, I don't think Nico Gonzalez is accepting joining Nottingham Forest. With all due respect, I don't see that happening. However, the news is out there, and it's not from one source. It's been confirmed by other sources as well, that if an offer comes in and people are expecting offers to come in for him, that the club will be open or will entertain the idea of moving Nico Gonzalez on. Do I see it getting better? Not really. I'm not going to lie. I just don't, I don't know how he's going to go from that poor of a season to perform at a high level. I guess, I don't see that happening, because there's no sample size. Even last season, like, if he had a good first part of the season and then he had an injury and the second part was bad, it's like, man, you know what? Or the other way around. The first part of the season was really bad because of the injuries and he was new to the team. And then the second season he picked it up a bit. I could say, you know what? Maybe it was because of the injury and he came in late, no preseason and whatever. But that's not really been the case. Like, the injury was quite early. And since then, until the end of the season, there weren't many good games. Like, there were not really many good games overall. So he's one of the most frustrating players I've watched this season, because as much as Conceição frustrates me, at least I know what type of player he is, Conceição, and I can kind of accept that yeah, it's going to be frustrating at times. It's going to be, extremely difficult to, excuse me, it's going to be extremely difficult to watch Conceição plays, but I know who he is, what type of player he is. Nico Gonzalez loses possession because he's very slow in certain decision making. He doesn't see certain things quick enough, and that's why he loses possession. It's very frustrating to watch him play. Extremely frustrating to watch him play. And if you pair that with not even getting the numbers, then you're watching, or we all are watching, a player that's just out there to be out there, but no real purpose, to the team. He doesn't add anything to the team. That is extremely frustrating, not just for me, I think just also for the team in general. Like, you're playing with a player that's not really offering anything, and he plays most of the time almost 90 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we move him on. I wouldn't be shocked, because of the season he had. But right now, I don't see that really happening. Would not be sad to see him go, rather Alberto Costa at this point. Yeah, but they don't play the same positions. I can see it now, loan with option to buy. No, that's not going to happen. We're going to keep him if it's a loan with an option. That's just not going to happen. Works hard, sweats a lot, contributes nothing. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you summed it up. You kind of summed it up. That's basically how you can describe Nico Gonzalez' season this season. Nico Gonzalez, his season. It's basically, he works hard, but at the end of the day, there's no real. How do you want to call it? Like, there's no real end product. There's nothing you come out of that game. You're like, you know what? He added that to the team. At least he did this, or at least he did that. There's nothing really to go off. There's nothing really to say you can build on that, or next game do this, do that. Like, there's nothing. And again, yeah, the club could move on these players. Maybe should. Let me rephrase it. Maybe the club should be moving out these type of players. Okay. Let me see. Let's move on. Let's move on to other news that is more important to us, and that's Kolomani, because he's staying for the Club World Cup. He himself confirmed that after the game. He spoke, and he said that he's going to the Club World Cup with with Juve. And then obviously journalists came out, all the sources came out and confirming it, but he did it. He's going to the Club World Cup, but that was never really up in the air. Like, we kind of knew that we will find an agreement for him to stay for the Club World Cup. I think we all had that feeling for about 2 weeks right now. The point and the sticking point was what's going to happen after the Club World Cup, because the club really wants to keep him. It's not like Conceição, where it's like they want to keep Kolomani. And the most important aspect of this entire situation is that he wants to stay. That's the most important thing. He wants to stay at the club. There are offers from the Premier League. One is Tottenham. We know that for certain. There are others. I don't know which the others are because they have not been mentioned. But however, what I was trying to say is that Kolomani wants to stay, and he said he's happy at the club, and the club, embraced him really quickly, or everybody at the club embraced him really quickly, and they made him feel, at home, very, very soon, from day one, etc. So PSG want the money. They want around 50 million euros. So let's say 45 million euros. PSG want. We do not want to pay 45 million for Kolomani this summer. So the plan of the club is to loan him again, and I don't know, maybe pay, 5 million euros for a season or 7 million euros, and then next season have the option to buy him, but also not at the 40 million euros, but let's say 30 million euros. I don't know, like something like that. That's what the club is working at. Now, PSG know they can count on offers from the Premier League. Premier League clubs who maybe want to pay 45 upfront, maybe. But what they have against them is that Kolomani is basically saying, I want to stay at Juve because I feel comfortable at Juve. So now it's back to PSG, knowing that it's basically like Osimhen. 2 seasons ago, Napoli and Al Hilal had a deal, and Osimhen said, I'm not doing this. This season, Napoli and Al Hilal have an agreement again, I think it's 75 million euros. And Osimhen said, I don't want to go to the Saudi league. So what are we going to do? And Napoli do not want to keep him. Same for PSG. They don't want to keep Kolomani. And the player is saying, I want to play for Juve. Now what? Are you just going to sit that out? Because at the end of the day, you do not want me, and I want to play for this club. So that is kind of the situation with Kolomani. It will a lot depend on him. The deal, if he's going to stay here next season, yes or not, I think a lot of that will depend on him. If he's going to stick to his guns and say, what, it's Juve, and that's it. I don't want to go Tottenham, or I don't want to go, I don't know who the other club is who was making an offer, but it's definitely Tottenham. If he sticks to his guns, then yeah, at one point PSG will probably need to lower his demands, their demands a little bit, because they know, okay, we want to get quote unquote rid from a player that we do not want to keep because we have other options, etc. So it's gonna all depend on Kolomani. I have no real issue with Kolomani staying, to be honest. Obviously, if the price we're gonna pay for him is ridiculous, then I would have an issue. My thing is like, is he going to be the main guy? If it's not Jonathan David you're bringing in, then what are you lining up if you want to keep Kolomani? That is what I am thinking about, because Kolomani right now, 2025, he's not a killer in front of goal. Like, he's not that type of player. He at times looks clumsy. At times he's, overhaste. His finishing is perfect at times, and at times it's very frustrating. So those are players you cannot really count on throughout the season, or like, just, I'm going to count on you to get me 20 goals. Like, it feels impossible if you ask him to do that. But his pressing is good. Tudor wants to press, so he can do that. So he fits what Tudor wants to do potentially, but obviously the price needs to be right. We cannot be paying 50 million euros in total for Kolomani. I think we already paid 5 million euros to loan him this season, 7 million euros to loan him this season. So you need to keep those things in mind. It's like when we talk about Conceição and people say, 30 million is not enough, but we paid 10 million euros already to loan him. So it's 40 million euros. You need to look at the total package. So we paid around 5 million euros for Kolomani. You need to include that in your future thought process to say, okay, we're going to spend 50 million for Kolomani in total. You already paid 50. 5, excuse me. You might be paying 7 or 10 again this season to loan him out. You need to take all those things in account. Otherwise, you're going to overpay for a player who's never going to take you to the level you might be aspiring goals-wise. Let me see. When I call on David, both a lot are saying it's one or the other. I don't think it's one between Kolomani and Jonathan David. I think it's just David is asking for too much. So it's Kolomani and whoever, basically. That I think that's how I'm viewing it, to be honest. Unless the clubs kind of surprise us and say, no, Kolomani and David were, like for like, and we want still a quote unquote a top priority player who can get us 20 goals, and yeah. But right now, I do not have that feeling. Even though I wake up every morning and see the names of Gyökeres and see Retigi and all those names lined up, right now, I don't have the feeling the club is really going to go for any of those players, So I'm just looking at it and saying the Jonathan David one is not really linked to the Kolomani one, which could be even sadder because none of these players are going to get you 20 goals. They never did, So yeah, he did for Frankfurt, I think. But I mean, a lot. Jovic did that for Frankfurt as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It feels like the club has a different, thought process about the strikers, different than we as fans have. David is overrated and just looking for a payday. It depends how you rated David, to be honest. I mean, for the money he's asking, yeah, it's overrated, to be honest. He's asking 7 million euros. That's too much. So overrated. If he was asking like 3.5, 4 million euros, like a normal free agent, then I think, yeah, it would be perfectly rating because he gets double digit assists and goals almost every single season, Yeah. He's a killer underrated player and distracted because he's Canadian. Do people really hate Canadians? 25 million signing bonus isn't free. Now, it is not free. I get it, but it's normal. Like there is no free agent on this planet. There isn't. There's a free agent doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. A free agent is never. We paid money for Ramsey. We paid money for Khedira. We paid money for Pogba to Mino Raiola. I think close to 9 million euros in total, with bonuses added up, and all those things. Ramsey, Khedira, Emre Can. We paid. I think for Emre Can we paid around 50 million euros. For Ramsey, it quoted up to 20 million euros. There are no free agent. A free agent is just the club he's playing for doesn't get money. That's it. There isn't a free agent. Now, my issue is not 25 million euros. My issue are his wages. He's not worth 7, and you set a standard at the club that cannot be accepted. I don't have an issue with paying 25 million euros because if you don't get Jonathan David and you're going to get, I'm just going to say, you're going to get a Milik type of player, because a lot of people think he's a Milik type of player. You're going to pay 25 million euros to get that type of player. The difference is that 25 million euro is going to the club instead of an agent. And actually, even when there's a transfer fee, you still pay agents, so it might even be worse. So I don't really have a problem with free because everybody sees free agent and think it's free. It's never free. It never was free. And we've done worse in the past. Like we have absolutely done worse in the past when it came to free agency. We did, we did. So I don't really have an issue with the signing bonuses, especially for the profile of player is and the goals he gets. Now, if you're telling me we are, which player comes to mind really quickly? I have Højlund, for example. Let's say Rasmus Højlund was a free agent this summer, for example, and we are going to pay 25 million euros in agent's fee. Then I would have an issue, but because I think he's average, he's bad, that's a waste of money. If it's an agent fee or a transfer fee, it's a waste of money for the type of player Højlund is, So for me, it's the wages, and even that, it's 7. Other reports are saying it's 5. I mean, you also need to be careful with those reports because at the end of the day, they just, write whatever they want. And when there's so much difference between different reports, I'm going to say nobody really knows what Jonathan David is asking. Because if one day you read 7 and then in the same newspaper the day after you read 5.5, they don't really know what he's asking for, So also need to be careful with that one. Okay. let's move on. We talked about that. We talked about Gonzalez. Let's talk about. I have three other pieces of news. Let's start with this because this is news that just makes you want to cry. Dodô, Fiorentina. When I first read the links to Dodô, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay, it got mentioned, and that's it. We move on. We're not moving on. It basically gets mentioned every single day, and I try to ignore it every single day. But here I am. I cannot ignore it anymore. So he's not renewed, or like Fiorentina want to renew him at 2.2 million euros until 28 or 29, but he wants more money. He wants around 30 million. He wants around uh, 3 million euros. And the Gazzetta dello Sport is saying that Juve are looking into that, basically hesitation to renew his deal. And if it's worth to spend 30 million euros on Dodô, I mean, I want to say no, but I don't think no is strong enough to describe this type of deal. And people keep hitting the like button. We only have 12 likes. 12 likes, that's not enough. So smash the like button because it does help out the channel massively. And it takes 1 second of your time. Just so click the like button. But Dodô, these are the players. These are the players that are not going to improve us one bit. They actually might make us worse. 30 million euros for Dodô. I don't know if anyone watched Dodô. Not once have I watched Fiorentina play and I was like, snap, we need Dodô on our team. Even as a backup, he's going to make a difference. He's not anything. He's one of those thousands of players out there. He doesn't move the needle one bit. And I was watching the game against Betis Sevilla at home, which they lost, and didn't went to the Conference League final. The moment the final whistle blew, I saw him laughing and smiling with Anthony from Betis Sevilla, and I'm like, I get that you're friends, but you just miss out on a final for your own, for Fiorentina, for the fans there, and you're smiling and all those things. Like, I don't like on top of the fact that I just don't like him as a player. He doesn't move the needle. He's not good. He doesn't stand out really at anything to say, you know what, I'm gonna pay 30 million euros to get you over the line. He doesn't. And when I see these links, I'm like, what is actually the move? What are you trying to do with Dodô here? Like, are you gonna have a 30 million euro backup? Really? Are you thinking about he's starting material, which is actually insane if you think that? Like, I just don't see it with him. Again, it's a player. I don't get it. I don't get these links. And it's not once. It's been linked with us. And Nico talked about it as well. Like, I'm watching it, listening to it, reading it. I'm like, how are these players taking us to a potential next level? And the next level for us is not even winning, it's competing. Like, that's the next step for us. Like, in the situation we're in right now, we're not going to win stuff from the get-go. It's competing. And that's already a bridge too far when I read names like Dodô. Like, these players are not going to help us compete. It's impossible. It's just impossible. These are not needle movers. You're not going to do anything by bringing in a player like Dodô. I don't care that Tudor likes him. I don't believe Tudor is going to be here for a very long time as well. That's the same with the Nuno Tavares links. Tudor likes him. Good for Tudor. Very good for Tudor that he likes him. But we're not going to sign Nuno Tavares because he's very injury prone lately, and he had a ridiculous start to the season, which is not normal if you look at it throughout his career. That was a one-off, and then he completely fell off. Yeah, Lazio fell off, but he was part of it, fell off. These are guys you cannot buy and then assume you're going to compete. These are players you buy, and then a year from now, you're like, snap, we haven't improved. How come? Well, because you bring in players who are just not going to improve you. They're not needle movers. They have maybe one good season out of the 6 they are already playing. It's not going to change anything. So spending 30 million euros on a player like Dodô, is madness. It really is madness. It's actually burning money at this stage. It really is. So again, I try to ignore these links, but they come out every single day. Like, it's not a one-off when it comes to Dodô. It's every single day. Kolokrim from the same league, another better team. Okay. Enough business with Fiorentina. Well, yeah. But like the issue is not even business with Fiorentina. Is the money we pay for these Fiorentina players. That is the issue most of the time. And you can say I didn't want Nico Gonzalez, okay? But if we sign Nico Gonzalez for 25, the outrage would not be that insane. The outrage is insane because we paid almost 40 million euros for Nico Gonzalez, and everyone at that stage knew we are overpaid. Everybody knew that. I've not seen one person or one fan say, "Oh, he's worth 37 million" at the start of the season when we signed him, let alone when you knew the type of performances he was putting in. That is the issue. Same for Atalanta players. It's not really the Atalanta player or the Fiorentina player you signed. It's the money you have been putting on the table, for all these players, Chiesa, Vlahovic, Gonzalez. That is the issue. That's a massive issue, in my opinion. Bernardeschi, I forgot about him. Jesus, and he might have been the cheapest out of. Oh no, he was 40, so he wasn't the cheapest. Nico's a player for Serie A, not high level, but for our Serie A, it's good. Nah, he's not been good. Yeah, I would agree with you, but last season he didn't even show he was good for Serie A. That is a problem. Overall, I agree for Serie A. Yeah, he should be good, but with the performances he put in, well, he proved that he's not good. He did prove that. Kolomani was from Atalanta, to be honest. He was from Atalanta, but same point. I get what you're trying to say. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to this one, because we talked about it on Friday evening. I think we talked about Vlahovic. It was Milan, because Allegri asked the Milan board, to look into the Vlahovic situation and maybe, to get him over the line. Now, the massive news is over the weekend is that actually Vlahovic has an offer on the table, and it is from Fenerbahce. They're offering him 30 million. No, that's not true. They're offering him 10 million euros a season. He's earning 12 at us, but again, the 12 he's earning at us is because signing bonuses have been included in the transfer, in his wages, excuse me. That is why he's earning 12 million euros. Now, the news is that they are offering him 10 and us 30 million euros, which is about what the club is looking for. And despite knowing that we paid 70 plus for us, we're not going to get that for Vlahovic. So we knew the entire situation. The update is, and it's not a shock, it's not a surprise, is that Vlahovic is waiting. He's waiting, and I don't blame Vlahovic waiting. I don't blame him that he's waiting for a better offer. Were that to be Milan, were that to be Atletico Madrid, because they are mentioned as well. I understand that Vlahovic at 24 years of age doesn't want to go play for Fenerbahce, even if they're offering him 10 million euros, because I don't really think that has been the issue. So I understand that entire situation, that he's not willing to accept Fenerbahce at this moment in time. Selling Vlahovic, I don't think will be a problem. It will be a problem if you're hoping to sell him early as a club. Let me rephrase it. But selling him throughout the summer window won't be an issue, because he knows he's not going to be here, so we'll accept one deal at one point. The problem is if the club wants that 30 million now, or they want to be certain, then yeah, it's going to take some time, because Vlahovic obviously will not accept Fenerbahce. I think he accepted that he won't be here. He knows the contract talks are going absolutely nowhere. He knows he's not going to be the main guy, because he wasn't the main guy even on the last day, with Kolomani. So he knows the situation. I think he's not the type of player that is willing to just accept it and say, yeah, I'm just going to sit it out. I think he wants to play week in, week out. Even you might think he's insane, to believe that he can start every single week, but that's his mindset. And is it right to have that mindset? If he thinks he's better than sitting on the bench, then yeah, fair enough, you can leave. But I cannot get angry on Vlahovic for not accepting Fenerbahce. I just can't. If he believes he can play at a much higher level, then fair. Then fair. Wait it out, see it out, and whatever happens, I guess. For the club, it might be frustrating, because they told him probably, not going to be part of our plans. They want to move on, and he's taking his time. But again, he has every right to take his time. It's an important step in his career. And if he is like, okay, thank you, Fenerbahce, for the offer, but I'm going to wait until Milan make an offer, or Atletico Madrid make an offer, or a Premier League club make an offer, who knows, and then I'm going to make that move or the decision, then fair enough. I don't think we can be really angry about that as well. Nico must go. I'll have to sign that Rodrigo Mora kid from. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But yeah, I would I would agree, but that's not gonna happen. We need to sell Vlahovic ASAP. Atletico Milan, Fener, anywhere, and try to get Gyökeres before Manu. Yeah, I mean, even if we sell him, I think Gyökeres has set his eyes to just go back to Ruben Amorim. But will Dusan go? He thinks he's more than what he is. Yeah, I think I agree. I think he believes he's more than what he is, which is cool if you believe in yourself as a player. But I also think you understand he's not the guy at Juve. He got overtaken by Kolomani, who's a loanee at the time. So I think he will accept it. Any news about a sporting director? What do you think about Salihamidzic? He's good, but not too good for you because at Bayern he had money, chemistry. Yeah, at Bayern he also messed up a lot. And I think he got sacked and things got better. I don't know what's going to happen, but again, as a fan, I don't think we should be worried about a sporting director. 10 years ago, nobody was worried about Beppe Marotta coming to the club, and it's just frustrating that we don't have one. But Salihamidzic did good things at Bayern, and he did some very extremely poor things as well at Bayern. So, yeah, if it's him, it's him. Like right now, it's just get somebody in so we can make some deals happen. Whoever it is, that's my feeling, because I don't know who's better between Salihamidzic or Masara, because you can judge certain deals, but then again, like you said, clubs are boring. It's more difficult to do your job at a club like Milan, who are changing ownership every 3 years and have very limited funds, compared to doing your job at Bayern, for example. So it's very hard for me to judge that. And actually, as a fan, I shouldn't be worried about who the hell is going to be the sporting director. I'm just worried that we don't have one. Period. Why is Gyökeres not the next Dusan? Too risky? Maybe you're right. But obviously clubs are going to take their shots if you score plus 50 goals every season. That's just how it is. We need quality depth, so we always have all the good battles for playing time. I agree, but the issue, like the priority right now, is improve the starting 11 and then move on to the depth size. Again, like Dodô, it's a good depth, or we got linked to Vlahovic Molina swap. No, just take the money, give us the money for Vlahovic and keep Molina. I don't care if he's a good depth. We need money to improve our starting 11. Once we've done that, we can move on to improve our entire roster. But there's no point to improve the backups when the starters are not even up to quality. That's insane. That means your backups are even worse. So how is that really going to help us as a team if we don't sort out just the starting 11? And we need to sort out the starting 11. Cambiasso, for example, now the news is coming out that the club is offering him a contract until 23. That's not right. 2030. I don't even know. I thought he was signed a new deal until 27, 28, So the Man City thing cooled off, even though they're going for Livramento. But Newcastle said, no, your offer is way too low. But it's still not as high as what we want for Cambiasso, and Milan are not willing to pay that money for Cambiasso. So right now, it feels like he's going to stay. Don't want Dodô at all. There are better options. Yeah. There are a lot of better options. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Last piece of news. Yildiz. Nico Shira talked about links, or like that Arsenal could be potentially in for Yildiz. As you can see, willing to offer close to 60 million euros. However, the club is saying, no, we're not going to sell unless some offer over 100 million is coming in, which is nobody's going to offer that for Yildiz. So that's basically the club saying he's not for sale. On top of that, the club is in talks to renew his contract until 23. And according to Nico Shira, they want to double his wages. So that will be around 3.3 million euros, something like that, 3.5 million euros. Fair or not fair, that's how it works. If you want to keep away bigger clubs, just big clubs, you're gonna offer a new deal, you're gonna set them, but right now I don't have a feeling Yildiz is asking for a move. I don't have a feeling Yildiz is entertaining a move. I don't have a feeling the club is willing to let Yildiz go, because if you do that, then what kind of message do you send to your fan base, to just everyone? You're selling your quote unquote most prized asset in already a bad situation as a club. We've seen what happened with Huijsen, and you move on Sule, you got a Nico Gonzalez, and he's having a worse season. So as a club, you cannot move out Yildiz. It's impossible, because like that would be absolute madness right now. Imagine waking up and the club is like, you know what, Yildiz, you can go. We're gonna sell you. Then as a fan and just as a club, you stand there and you're like, what is actually the point? What are we actually trying to do? Are we trying to win? Are we trying to compete? Are we trying to build something? We're not even trying at that point. You're just sabotaging every single thing you might have going your way by moving out of players like Yildiz. Now, obviously, 60 million euros, the club is not going to sell for 60 million euros, even if a lot of people in the fan base saying that 60 will be a fair price for Yildiz. You're not going to do that, because in today's market, that's underrated. That's you should be overpriced. Like Wirtz, I like Wirtz as a player. Florian Wirtz. Leverkusen said no to 150 million. He's not worth 150 million. I like him as a player. He's actually so talented, but he's not worth 150 million. That was my point with Yildiz. It's not worth 80 million, but if you want him, you're gonna overpay because of the potential he has. It's as simple as that. So obviously 60 million, that's just never gonna happen. It's impossible. Like actually impossible. Let me see. There's no news coming out because it's a holiday. Actually, tomorrow is also a holiday, so I don't think there's any news to be expected today and tomorrow. And with news, I mean like real updates. I don't have that feeling. That feeling that it's going to happen anytime soon between now and tomorrow. Let me see. No, a lot of Nations League. Yeah, I cannot believe people are celebrating the Nations League like they are. And I still don't see the point of that tournament. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's about it, people. I was just a quick live to go over the latest updates. It's extremely late over here, so I'm gonna wrap it up, people. Hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. As well, just drop to say hi. Juve is still slow. Yeah, they're slow, Alex. they're very slow. Next week, actually this week, because it's Monday over here already, I'm gonna do the keep, sell, or loan live show. I'm not sure which day, depending on the news. It's not gonna be tomorrow. It's most likely going to be Wednesday or Thursday. So stay tuned for that one, because I'm assuming Tudor is going to be the coach. Let me assume Tudor is going to be the coach even for next season. So it makes more sense. It makes more sense to do the keep, loan, and sell video right now, and see how it goes. Kostic will be back today in training or at the Continental. So UP can't wait to see some Kostic pictures in training as well. Erugani will be back as well, I think, on Wednesday. I've seen the reports. And then it's build up to the following week, Club World Cup. Yeah, I don't know. Just going there for the vibes. I think we're all just going there for the vibes. If you watch the Nations League final, you can see a lot of these players are just out of energy. So I'm not even sure what to expect from the Club World Cup. It's going to be crazy. Probably teams who are not European teams are going to do well. They're going to do well because some of them just started the season. They're still fresh. It's completely different. The amount of games they play, because a lot of them don't play with their national team, etc. So it's going to be interesting from that aspect. Anyways, people, that's it from me. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will speak again tomorrow.